I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Dennis Kudla.
I'm Jesper de Jong.
I'm Henry Laakson.
I am Francisco Cerundolo, and you are listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the match between Denis Novak and Stefanos TSITSIPAS, which sort of makes up the first round matches for the Vienna Open, which of course is taking place in Austria this year, coupled with the Basel Open, which is taking place in the neighbouring country of Switzerland. As you can tell, I am one of your new presenters here today. I'm James, as you can see with my Twitter handle. I'm at Tennis Ranter on Twitter if you wish to give me a follow. But also make sure that you are following, subscribing, and hitting the like button on this stream and also on the channel itself. Now, I think everyone's wondering what their predictions are going to be. I can see from Todd that you're already saying that you think it'll already be a one-sided match. Kind of tend to agree at this stage here, but what I will be asking you to do, as we've got people coming into the stream, is to give your predictions. If you could put that in the live chat, that'd be absolutely fantastic. And I'll run for that. So yeah, make sure that you put your comments into the live chat to do with what you believe the score may be for this game. I will say off the bat that I do believe TSITSIPAS will do it in two. I would be very surprised if TSITSIPAS ends up actually going to even a tiebreaker at the end of this in any of the two service games that I think that any of the two service games. Getting my words tongue-tied already. Any of the two sets that I believe that he will end up winning this match in. But, Denis Novak's, you can't necessarily downplay a home player. As we saw yesterday with the inspirational comeback of Dominic Thiem at the same tournament last night. The crowd can really help, and that home atmosphere can really help get a player over the line. Thank you, Lexi, for your welcome. And Todd, thanks for putting as well. As I keep now jumping between different comments. Todd saying 6-3-6-2. I think that could be a very plausible scoreline. Lexi saying dropping by and giving me a like and pray that my love and stuff. Yeah, I can see Lexi. You wish TSITSIPAS gets a good win as well. And okay, as we can see, the players are still just about finishing the warm up at this stage here. They're just cracking on with service motions. Now, I had a look back before this match into mainly Novak, Denis Novak's hit sort of year to date, effectively, because we kind of know about TSITSIPAS. We know that he retained his title in Monte Carlo. We saw that a couple of weeks ago that he got to the final and lost to Djokovic in straight sets in the Astana Open, whilst also losing the final last week as well to Holger Rune, quite convincingly in that final, which is slightly worrying for I'm guessing for Tsitsipas fans, the ease of which that loss came about, and now poor record of finals this year. I know he's got 4 final losses to date. I believe it's 4 or 5, and he's only got 2 title wins, which of course, like I said, just a minute ago, came in Monte Carlo at the beginning of the season in April, and of course that sort of surprise win that he picked up. I say surprise win because he's not usually very good on grass, at the Mallorca Championships the week just before Wimbledon kicked off. But for Denis Novak, just as I keep actually on. I keep on actually about what Novak's going on about. He's been quite rare on the main tour. He's mainly been around the Challenger circuit. I know that looking at his last 2 Challenger results, he got knocked out in the first round, but has reached a couple of Challenger finals throughout the year. Seems to be very much a clay courter and a clay court specialist, with his only title on the main tour being a doubles title that he picked up in Kitzbühel a few years ago. So, we can very much see that, he's very much a clay courter, but we've got the home crowd atmosphere as they are now getting ready to go there. And what I'm going to do is quickly get the score thing added to the stream so everyone can see what the score will be from there. Tsitsipas is about to serve, and we are about to begin here. So starting off, Denis Novak does a nice winner straight down the line to make it 15-love. Good return there from Novak. So it's let's see if any comments. Thank you, Gary, for your welcome as well. And you'll be annoying from time to time. I will take that. It'd be good to make sure everyone's commenting about the match. As we can see, Tsitsipas has just made it 15-all. Now, it's just been made note, of course, of Tsitsipas's very poor record at the ATP 500 level, especially when it comes to the finals. I believe it's around about 10 final losses in a row, which is not a great return on investment when it comes to the when it comes to those finals. Of course, he's played the likes of Djokovic, Nadal, I think Medvedev on a couple of occasions in these finals. I mean, they're not exactly he's getting players that are severely lower ranked than him, but that is the sort of baggage at the back end of these tournaments that could really start to play havoc. And as we can see at the moment, Tsitsipas is 30-15 up, still serving, so it's looking a little bit better at this stage here for Tsitsipas in his first opening service game. A bit of a rally going here, baseline to baseline, cross court there from Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas tries an up the line and hits the net. So a 30-30, it could be a little bit of a rust from Tsitsipas. I know though he did play on Sunday, so maybe a couple of days worth of rust playing here. But I'm sure that he'll shake it out of him at this stage there. I'm interested to know in the chat what sorts of matches over the last. I know we've had a couple of days worth of good matches here in Vienna. I know I made mention of the Dominic Thiem match last night, but also in Basel there's been some absolute crackers. What has been your sort of favourite match so far, and who are you most excited for that's going into sort of the second round here both in Vienna and also in Basel? Please make sure that you mention in the live chat. As Tsitsipas just goes about getting the first service game underway. whilst they're sitting down, it's probably worth mentioning that over on the hashtag, I'm going to try and pronounce this, and I'm probably going to butcher it, the Glabachin Court. Let's see if I got that right. Daniel Evans is a set and a break up against Karen Khachanov. He won the first set 6-2 and is currently 3-1 up and has break point on Khachanov's serve to possibly make it 4-1. It's just an interesting one to follow there. And then, of course, as we saw, Tsitsipas's opponent in Stockholm on Sunday, Cole Rune earlier on, got a very impressive victory, straight sets victory over Alex de Minaur, to sort of make it now, around about 6 games in a row win streak for the day. And on the first service point for Denis Novak, he ends up smashing it into the net on the third point there, and it is now 15. It is now love 15 to Tsitsipas at this stage here. So good return from Tsitsipas here. Good bit of a rally. Back baseline to baseline. Cross court by Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas down the line backhand, and it fires beyond the tram line. Unfortunate there for Tsitsipas with that iconic one-handed backhand that he can produce. It's something which I think we've all tried to mimic, especially the Roger Federer styling of the one-handed backhand when we've been on the local tennis courts, and realizing that a one-handed backhand is an incredibly difficult shot to try and master, even if you do feel you look absolutely awesome as you try and whack it across court. Really good return there from Tsitsipas. Now makes it 15-30 to him. As we can see, his dad Apostolos giving him some encouragement from the side there. Of course, Apostolos being a huge figure in the Tsitsipas camp, rightly or wrongly, helped making a lot of decisions about the player and the way in which he should be developing. Second serve here for Denis Novak. Tsitsipas runs around it on the backhand, on the forehand, sorry. Unfortunately, Denis Novak gets the right. Denis Novak manages to get the return back strongly there, and it is now 30-all. So, Gary, you bring up an interesting point. You believe that Steph should come to the net more. That is certainly actually an interesting point. He does tend to spend a lot of time at the baseline and actually a movement forward. And there's a lot of players that have a lot of big serves in the top. In the top 10, I know that Auger-Aliassime can be a little bit like this as well, along with Zverev when he was we don't know when we're going to see Zverev back now, given how poor his injury's been. They tend to stick at the baseline and are very uncomfortable when they move to the net. And one of the things they need to make sure that they do is one of the things they need to make sure is to have that variety. It's the reason why Rafael Nadal, the reason why Novak Djokovic have the longevity that they have, along with Federer and to a degree Murray, is that they have those skills and those lockers. Here we are. Tsitsipas has got forward there, and he's won the point. He's forced Novak into a position where he needs to hit a low percentage winner. And I mean by low percentage, it means that the chance of it going over and getting the win being very slim. Hits the net, and as such, Tsitsipas has took it to deuce on Denis Novak's serve. As Gene, you point out, Medvedev has a very poor volley. That is indeed that is something that he is, see if he can actually work on. Has Novak and Djokovic ever played before? Manaris, I really hope that has actually happened. I can't think of anything in my recollection of if that's ever played or took place before. And thank you, Santa Robin. If you've got any questions for me, please do place them in the live chat. And remember, if you can, hit the like button on this video. However, whichever stream you're watching it from, either YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, that would be fantastic. Like I said, we want to, if possible, my first time around, get to 100 likes would be brilliant. I know we've got 17 people live at the moment on the chat, but if we can get that a bit higher, that'd be fantastic as well, so other people can see this match. And as it's worth saying again, as we're back to juice here in the Novak Tsitsipas game. that Evans is now a double breakup in the second set against Kachanov, and to go over to Basel to give a little bit of a score update there. Lorenzo Massetti has taken the first set 6-1 against Albert Ramos Vinulas, with them being on serve at the moment at the beginning of the second. And for those doubles favourites of ours in here, I know I'm a very big doubles. I like doubles as much as anyone else. Harry Heliovara and Lloyd Glassball are a set down, but a break up against the Kazakhstan players they're playing. So first question I see popping up there is, who are your favourite ATP and WTA players? Thank you for that, Gene. So my favourite ATP players, to start there. My favourite ATP players. I'm pretty terrible in terms of a lowest common denominator fan. I do like a lot of the British players, Cameron Norrie, Andy Murray, who of course would have been the first person that I properly watched when I was younger. Getting into tennis, and then of course Dan Evans ish. I think everyone's like Dan Evans ish, and then of course Jack Draper as he's coming up at the moment. But outside of the British sphere, you cannot not be a Alcaraz fan. The way in which he's able to bring, to be able to tap the ball, the different shots and depths that he can bring. I mean, his drop shot is just utterly sublime. You sometimes run out superlatives in the British English language that you can use to back that up. Thank you for the hi, cross-court tennis. But going on a little bit after that, I would certainly say I do. Tsitsipas is always fun to watch, especially that one-handed backhand. Sinner certainly can be a fun watch. I'm just trying to wrap my mind about who I would certainly say would be again favourite players that I would actively try out and go watch. I certainly would go out and watch Dominic Thiem. I've only like a recent convert to properly watching the tour, beyond Wimbledon effectively. I've been watching the tour more in a more concentrated manner, or at least watching it week in, week out. Since past last year's Wimbledon, so just over a year now. So I never actually had chance to. I never really had chance to watch Thiem in his prime. I did have watched some of the highlights, especially his Indian Wells win in 2019, and of course the epic US Open win in 2020. But his game style, even at this stage here, I mean, the one-handed backhand, the bullet that it is down the line, the forehands, the ability to move around the court. I do think he plays sometimes a little bit too defensive, especially in an indoor hard court. But these are elements that he can, re-improve as part of his game. So that's covered a bit of the ATP, and there probably are other ones that I can't sort of think of off the top of my head. As we've gone into a really quite long juice game here, Novak's got advantage on his own serve at this stage. Onto the WTA. So I've already said about lowest common denominator, the British players there, but I would certainly say from outside of that, Caroline Garcia is certainly one of my favourites. The way she's able to hit the ball, the way she's able to play so close to the baseline, it's a very exciting attacking type football. Football? Well, that's the wrong sport we're playing here. An exciting attacking type tennis style. Iga's are terrifying to watch, which can also make it quite fun to watch. Just her ability to really sort of stretch out her entire body and make herself look so big on the court to be able to actually impose herself on her opponent is miraculous in there. Yeah, I don't know if I'm actually a rarity in terms of being a Garcia fan. I'm hopefully not on that one there. I was very much remarked by her Cincinnati victory just before the US Open, and it was a real shame, in my opinion, that she wasn't able to get to the final and just lost out to Ons Jabeur in the semi-finals there. Barring that, trying to think of other WTA players that certainly have a liking for. I mean, when Paula Badosa did her Indian Wells run, that was. As Novak just hits it out to go to juice again in his service game. When Paula Badosa did her run to the Indian Wells, that was a brilliant final, especially against Victoria Azarenka. And Azarenka can be a real fun one to watch as well. I do like Petra Kvitova. I do say I was quite fortunate to watch her win. I went to Eastbourne in the summer and was able to watch her in the final there beat Yelena Ostapenko in straight sets. And I think maybe just because I remember watching her a lot in 2011, 2014, Wimbledon twice. But I've certainly got a soft spot for Kvitova and how we're liking her game style. As Tsitsipas now has a break point on Novak serve. This has really been quite a long-winded one here. Hopefully that helps answer that question, and it haven't sort of rabbited along too much there about one topic. Gene, you say I mainly like Djokovic, Felix, Rune, and Sinner. Yeah, could certainly agree with you all there. And Kvitova, yeah, we've got that's one thing we have in common there is Kvitova. Kontaveit, yeah, so certainly. I mean, it's been a bit topsy-turvy this season. And Pegula, yeah, I mean, the consistency of Pegula, I mean, it was heartening to see her victory in Guadalajara on what would have been very early Monday morning our time, but late Saturday evening. There's, for somebody who has been constantly getting to the quarters, semis, that final in Madrid against Ons, to be able to then finally break through, get that big title, it was really good to see, and it's very much well deserved. And I know people compare her to almost like the Cam Norrie of the WTA, but she certainly did deserve a big title along that this season that we're going along here. If anyone else in the live chat, if you could put who your favorite players are, that'd be fantastic, just to be able to have a look and be able to get to know you a little bit more. That'd be fantastic. As Novak now takes the first game, it's a very long first game, but we are now one game all. I couldn't agree more though of Jabeur, Gene. What she's able to do for Arab and African tennis has been, it's exemplary. I mean, it was about that Monastir tournament that took place a couple of weeks back. It was down to Ons effectively, who pushed IMG to actually get that tournament placed into that country, that they were able to get that sort of big tennis event, or at least that big main tour event in place there. And we got Todd in the chat as well. Hi Todd, how you doing? As my stream just starts to fail there, we'll just hope it'll come back in just a bit. Some technical things there. I do apologize for this. We've got some technical issues playing up on my thing, so I have no idea what's happening at the moment. I'm reliant on you lot to help me with this. And Gary, you're apparently a Sabalenka fan. Yep, so Tsitsipas got a game to love there. Very strong service game. Go sit down. It's 2-2. 2-1. 2-1 it is. Good to know, Gene, that you and Gary are part of the Nole fan club there. Yeah, that certainly is. Just they're showing a replay at the moment of Tsitsipas almost losing his racket. Can sometimes be quite comical. As I see with scores around the ground, Evans has he's got match point on the Kachanov match, and over in Basel, It's 2-2 between Lorenzo Musetti and Ramos Vinulas, and it's gone. And it looks as though Lloyd Glassball and Helio Vara are about to lose their match in the match tiebreaker there. So it's been a bit of a longer start than I think many people were expecting on those three matches, those 3 games there. As we can see, everyone in the stands is getting to their seats, coming in after the back end of the Sinner match, which was a very good showing from Sinner, especially as he's been out for a little bit. Evans has just beaten Kachanov in in straight sets. That is a big victory for Evans, especially as it's against a higher ranked player. That will mean that the winner of that match will, of course, play the winner of Shapovalov and Taylor Fritz. And of course, we know what Evans's record against Fritz is like, especially quite recently. Tsitsipas has just tried to go up the line. Limited success on that one there. Unfortunately, just went slightly wide, literally by a hair width, that ball that's just gone wide. That means Novak is currently 15 love up in this match here. Oh, very good service there from Denis Novak. Makes it 30 love. A bit more of an impressive start to this service game for Novak than comparative to the last. As I can confirm that the Gublev and Nekrozelov, I have most likely butchered that pronunciation, we'll just roll over that, have just beaten Lloyd Glassball and Harry Heliovara in Basel. It almost feels like a sort of weird version of Football Focus this at the moment. So the next match on there will be Dodic and Kravic versus Ebden and Jamie Murray. Of course, Andy Murray on Tuesday. It wouldn't be an Andy Murray match if it wasn't a Murray marathon against Roman Safin on Tuesday, just shy of 3 hours. And of course, him being 4-1 down, being 4-1 down, as I will, because of how quick and how well that game went for Novak.
Never gonna make him crack. One thing that's just a fact. We know he's coming back. It's Denis Novak. It's Denis Novak. It's Denis Novak. When you're down, he's got your back. It's Denis Novak. It's Denis Novak. It's Denis Novak. No man he can attack. It's Denis Novak.
Kathy, I know that you're not a massive fan of play-by-play. I'll try and keep it as generic as possible along there. So we're just getting into the middle part here of the first set. As we know, it's currently 2-2 or 2-2 between both players. It's brilliant to see. I mean, the crowd in Austria. If you ever watched Kitzbühel, if you've ever watched the event, is there another event in Austria? I believe these are the only 2 events that take place in Austria. You'll probably end up correcting me if I've got that wrong. I'm checking now to do a bit of work, but I'll be watching up. Okay, thank you, Gary. You'll be watching me in the background. Thank you for saying I'm settling in quite nicely. I hope I come across that way and not a bit of a bumbling idiot. It's my aim not to sound like that. Like I was saying, just to get back onto track. Yep, Vienna and Kitzbühel. Thank you, Gene, for pointing that out. So they are the 2 events that take place in Austria over the course of the season. Of course, this is the main on the main tour. There are, of course, a load of really good challenger events, many clay court challenger events that take place in Austria, which, on a separate note, and I will go into that further on down the line. If you've ever, and this is actually a good question that I'd like to ask everyone, have you ever been to a challenger event, either in a local area or somewhere fairly close to you? And what was your experience whilst being there. I will go on to my sort of experience going to a challenger event a few months ago. But I was just going back, looking at the crowd here in Austria. It's absolutely rammed in the stands, which is fantastic to see. You log on to some matches, you watch some matches in some of the stadiums that we go to, and it's half empty or a quarter full, or however you want to end up describing it. And it can be really, if you think about it, a lot of these players fly halfway, 3/4 of the way around the world, and to be playing in front of an empty stand is it can be quite downer for them. Gary just said, and by the way, every time Andy plays, I predict Murray in 6. I suspect, it is. You could always sort of predict Murray in 6. There'll at least be you could probably even say most of his matches feel like they're going on for 6 hours at a point. But I was just saying, so going back to the Murray point, of course, he had a really big win last night, and looks like his brother yesterday afternoon, and his brother, of course, has obviously joined him in Switzerland, as they are playing some, classical type Beethoven-esque music in the stands there. Novak is about to go out and start to serve. It is currently, like I said, still 3-2 to Tsitsipas. Thank you for the super chat, Dean. Gene, so just to let you know, everyone counts on me mostly for the stats on here. On the other side, I give you a warm welcome. Brilliant, Gene. I will certainly be looking to use for any additional stats. I'll try and do my best with stats myself as well, but I will pale in my insignificance with stats retention to yourself. Just checking that bit there. So just Tsitsipas is currently 15 up on Novak's serve, and Novak has just made it 15-15 with an absolutely brilliant front to the net cross court winner. Novak is looking as though he's really feeding off the crowd here, just like his countryman team did last night. Really sticking at it here with Dennis, with Tsitsipas. Thank you, Todd. Gene has all the stats for you and predictions. Again, like I said at the top of the show, for any of those people that have joined, I know that we're midway through this stream here, but if you have any predictions for this Novak Tsitsipas match, please make sure that you put them in the comments. I'm really curious to see what people are going to think, especially as the match ends up evolving and progressing. I mean, especially as the match keeps evolving and progressing. At the moment, Dennis Novak is Tsitsipas has actually done a net play there, which was something I know we made mention about, and came to the net. As I said, made the percentage winner very low. Novak hits the net. We're now sitting at 30 all. I think Tsitsipas may be using this time to possibly start to pounce on Novak, as we're coming into the midpoint of the first set. Just saying that, Novak just hits a brilliant serve right across the to the tram, right across to the tram lines. Hits it perfectly, and all Tsitsipas can do is hit a forced error out on the opposite direction. And Novak has just taken the service game there. We are currently sitting at 3-3 as we see the can of energy drink, which has a big affiliation to Austria, being advertised quite blatantly on the sidelines there. And Gene thinks that Steph needs to lose to Courage, another Courage match. Steph, Gene, do you have any something for your bracket? That explains it. Well, I was quite proud. I say proud. Of course, one of the biggest results last night, really quite last night, was Stan the Man Radrinka, beating Casper Ruud, the Norwegian, in straight sets, 6-4, 6-4 last night. I was able to watch the back end of it. And in my brackets, I did predict that would be the outcome of that match, and I was very pleased when that actually took place. Granted, in that one, I have got like Murray going quite far in that bracket because of Casper getting knocked out at such an early stage. I mean, at the moment, we don't really have too much information on Wawrinka. Got to 60th top 10 yesterday. Interesting. 60th top 10 win. That is a really good stat, Gene. And just shows the longevity that Wawrinka has had and his ability to beat those players in the top. I remember, I think if anyone who watched the Wawrinka match against Medvedev only like 3 or 4 weeks ago in Metz would have seen that he can still hang it in there. That big first serve, that ability, that big forehand does hold him up well in those matches against the big players and can keep him certainly in contention. And I remember watching the Murray Wawrinka match at Cincinnati, and it was it was epic from both players in terms of being the age that they are, the point in their careers. It was brilliant to see. As we're now in a situation, and I want to see if we've got a brand for this, is we've got Novak a 4 break points up against Tsitsipas. Now, this is something not many people were going to want to see or expecting to see. I certainly wasn't expecting to see it. We will just see now if Novak can convert these 3 break points. And he has. It was not only a break, it was a break, it was a game. One of the best return games Novak has played in the last 4 return games. He has taken a break against Tsitsipas. And Tsitsipas is absolutely losing it at his box, with his dad's not taking any of it in return. Wow, now this is something in which not many people are expecting. Denis Novak being ranked 130-ish in the world, or at least ranked outside the top 100. Really feeding off that crowd energy and really getting that early break here. Again, none of us could have predicted it. As anyone else in the same bit? So with that break and given the now complexity of this set, if remember, just you could hit the like button, that'd be absolutely fantastic on this video. Thanks, Gene. Novak Djokovic is up a break. Well, if we were listening to Eurosport, that's certainly what they would end up saying, especially with their funny tweet the other day, misreading what the actual order of play was stating. As table tennis, you say, do you think Tsitsipas prefers losing to Novak than having to face Coric again? Yeah, I mean, Coric can certainly give you a few nightmares. I know that a few people on that run, Auger Aliassime and Cam Murray, would also probably want to avoid those Coric as well. And just again, to any of you doubles followers on this chat, I don't know how many of you will be doubles followers, but to let you know that Kachin and Diego Schwartzman have gone on against Rohan Bopana and Mate Middletop. Again, Bopana and Middletop, of course, got to the final at the European Open last week, losing out to Talon Grigspor and Botic van der Zandschulp in the final. I was quite fortunate because I was actually there at the European Open finals and the semi-final and the final days. And it was a great doubles match to be able to watch in person. And then to watch Felix Auger-Aliassime get the victory over Sebastian Korda, who you could probably feel a little bit sorry for Korda. This is the second final loss in the row in the space of 2 weeks. He's showing now that he can really go deep in these tournaments, but can he actually get it over the line. I know he did in Parma on the clay last year with some of those makeshift tournaments that took place. But nothing at this stage, but nothing on the hard courts, which you would say would be called as preferred surface. Now, it's interesting to note then that Tsitsipas is 30 love up on Novak's serve at this stage here. As we go, he is now 40 love up. We could certainly be looking to have a break back, a very quick break back into this game here. Let's just see what takes place there. As I will go back and just change the bits there, just make sure everything's all in order. Okay, so Denis Novak has smashed it, and Tsitsipas has smashed it wide. So we are still in limbo if Tsitsipas will be able to break back early or break back midway through this first set here. Again, like I said at the top of the show, when it comes to Denis Novak, he hasn't spent that much time on the actual main circuit this year. He's mainly somebody that you would see around the Challenger tours. And like I said with my question at the top, if you can make sure that you let me know if you've been to any challenges anytime recently, that'd be fantastic because I'm interested to hear who's been where and when, as it can be a little bit of an overlooked side of the actual. It can be an overlooked side of the tennis circuit, the Challenger circuit. So as we now wait here for Novak, who is currently 30-40 and looking to try to get back to juice on his service game against Tsitsipas. We'll say that one of the things, Tsitsipas backhand on, and it's gone to juice. Novak has saved those 3 break points, playing well above his world ranking here. Denis Novak, big serve helping him out, and an accurate serve at that. I know it was the second serve just there, but there was good accuracy and power in the right areas to that service game. Thank you, Gene. As I said, might as well try again on that one there. It looks as though Novak should, as he's now got advantage on his serve there. So I was just saying, and going back to it here, is that one of the challenger I was able to go to was the Surbiton Challenger. So I don't live too far from Southwest London. And I was able to go to that challenger for a few days over the summer, and it was it's a brilliant style of tennis to be able to go watch. It really is quite gritty tennis, in which you can see some of the stars of tomorrow. Especially at the qualifying stages, I was able to watch a few 17, 18-year-olds who were, real up and comers, and you get to sort of discover them at an early age in the qualifying stages, and then also see those players ranked around about 100-ish in the world. I mean, there was a guy I watched called Otto Rydernen, I think is how to pronounce it. He's a Finnish player, had an absolutely huge serve and just bombed his way through the majority of the draw, knocking out a load of Brits, knocking out some big seeds, as a qualifier. And it's those sorts of players that you're able to go and sort of discover who you may not necessarily see on the main tour. Gene, you do point out, of course, that Holger Rune did win today, a bit more convincingly in this victory against Alex de Moor than he did in Stockholm, which is just shows the hunger that player has. And Tsitsipas has broken back. Let me find that. Tsitsipas is now back into this 4 games. We are now coming to the tail end of the first set along here. Again, been a lot tougher. I know a lot of us were predicting, quite an easy, or at least seen as a bit of an easier win for Tsitsipas, as he just hits a brilliant ace out wide. And yes, Ramos has just taken the second set against Lorenzo Musetti, as we have Tsitsipas clambering around there. Denis Novak hit a brilliant ball straight down the line, which Tsitsipas could only return by sticking it into the lower part of the net. Really made him stretch out wide there. Got a few come on Stephs in the chat. That's good to see. So Tsitsipas, good first serve, comes up to the net, fires it straight at Novak, but then is able to smash it into the crowd to make it 30-15. Novak is looking slightly deflated. He's muttering to himself. Getting into the brace position as we're about to go into the third point. First serve from Tsitsipas. Straight to Novak, back again. Cross-court rallies here. As Novak tries to change direction on the ball, puts way too much angle onto it, and it fires pretty much to the Vienna sign. As Tsitsipas now has 2 game points on his own serve to make it 5-4. First serve from Tsitsipas, and brilliant first serve. Novak ends up hitting it long and wide. It is now 5-4 for Tsitsipas, as we are really at this tail end there. A good response after managing to break back, keeping his head and keeping things moving. Interesting light display. You always, one of the things you notice about the indoor events is their ability to add more elements in terms of different light. When it comes to signage, when it comes to certain like theatrical elements. I think trying to find the right word for that one. To the element, to the game. You can see the hashtag there, which is, my understanding and the brilliant thing about the Vienna tournament is that the second court, which I was just telling you, Dan Evans has beaten Kachanov on, as I start to lose my voice already, where Kachanov has just been beaten by Evans on. My understanding is that one of the brilliant things about that court is it's a pay-as-you-go court. So you're able to, with that court, you're able to go up and say spend X amount of euros on a 2 or 3 hour ticket, and then you're able to go onto the court for a few hours, be able to watch a little bit of the match, and then leave when you want to. So you're not tied into buying a ticket for the entire day and feeling you need to be there for the entire day, even for the matches you don't necessarily like. You can just go for the matches you want to go see and have that sort of pay-as-you-go tennis experience. I know they introduced that to try and encourage those non-tennis goers to actually attend tennis matches. And I know that it also works quite well because they've located the stadium for the second court. So my understanding is that the main stadium is a little bit to the southwest of Vienna, but the actual second court, that white stadium, is actually right in the center of Vienna, so that anyone can really walk past it along their way, which I think is just brilliant. Play the room button for Gene, please, James. Okay, so we want I know if Novak gets broken here, I'll certainly do that because we're currently now into play, or at least at the next sit down. Great smash by Tsitsipas, making it love 15 to him. To Tsitsipas, the one and only. Todd brings up a really good point, actually, whilst we're watching this, about sometimes Tsitsipas, and I'll just show you that, sometimes Tsitsipas lacks the need for focus. We'll just play the room one.
She don't take your breath away. Hold on, she don't take your breath away. Hold on, better not get in its way. She don't take your breath away.
There we go. There's the room button for you. As Novak is able to at least win the next point with an error on Tsitsipas's serve. As Gene is a real big fan of the room there button. Well, I'm sure, given the fact that he should be playing tomorrow, that if anyone's covering it, that it'll be played a fair bit more there. As we're getting a good backhand exchange, and Novak fires it long. It is now 15-30 on the Novak serve. Tsitsipas is now a couple of points away from potentially taking the first set after what was a little bit of a wobble at the beginning of at the middle of the second. Todd is a fan of the Shrionset button as well. Oh, Novak, though, hits it out wide with an ace, taking it to 30-30. He is not done yet. He is certainly not done yet. As we cut to a shot of the crowd with somebody with an AO hat. I do like spotting those sort of bizarre things in the crowd. And hits another ace out wide. An ace machine at the moment, Novak, taking it to 40-30. Taking it to 40-30. Really dug deep there, Novak, making sure that he's able to pick those spots and get those points. It's always good when you're a player to be able to get those cheap points. As he tries for the third time out wide, unfortunately hitting it into the net. What will happen with his second serve here? Tsitsipas, it heads up. So Novak fired it out wide. Tsitsipas ends up hitting it into the net. We are 5-5. We are 5-5 here in the first set in Vienna. So, as Todd mentions about focus, about Tsitsipas having a lack of focus, direction in these early rounds, it's starting to play a little bit true here. Tsitsipas is not running away with it as we were kind of expecting, but we were, he's not running away with it as we were expecting. It is a really dogged first set. I think it's a good word to use, dogged in this first set here between them both. As Novak is taking control of his first point and literally paints the line on that down the line winner with the forehand. Crowd are really getting behind Novak here, which is fantastic. Again, the commentators the professional commentators also noticing about the lift that Team got and the linkage here with Novak here in Vienna. So good return there from Novak. Cross court, Tsitsipas just acting like the conductor here at the moment on this point. Novak with a slice. Oh, Tsitsipas just pushed him out far enough, and Novak just didn't have the power to get it over the net to continue the point there as we go to 15-all. Todd says, another way to say it is he often plays down to the level of his competition. Well, that's an interesting way of looking at it. There are those players that when it comes to playing the big players, they can really show up. But then when it comes to playing those players you'd expect them to put away, they end up, the level isn't there, the percentages in terms of the first serves aren't there, the unforced errors go up, the winners go down, and then you're in a little bit of a spiral from there. I know that, unfortunately, I'm trying to think of another player that kind of acts like that at points. And I would certainly have to say, I'll leave that with me because there are certainly other players that can certainly, as Tsitsipas hits a brilliant smashed winner straight from the gods to take it to 6-5. So Tsitsipas has at least guaranteed himself a tiebreaker here against Denis Novak as they go to sit down. So it's been a very tight. It's been a very tight first set, a lot tighter than many of us were expecting. As we arrive here, I am just getting up all the scores at the moment. So, like we said, going over to Basel at the moment. Ramos Vinolas and Musetti are, of course, at the beginning of a third set. Third set. It is one set. It is one game all at the moment. Two very quick games though from both of them, so it's not been an overly taxing affair. And Bopana and Middletop are already an early break up against Kachin and Schwartzman. That's over on the second court here in Vienna. And just to give an update as well for Basel. And just a thing about Basel, you've got Dodic and Kravic, and Ebden and Murray are one game all as it currently stands. So it looks as though we've got Novak that's about to go out and start serving. As we somehow randomly cut to a scene of the benches with no one actually sat there. Okay, we're back live. There seems to be some problems with the cameras here. So it's a good little rally we got going here. Cross court to cross court. Novak is making sure he goes to Tsitsipas' backhand as much as possible. Oh, so Tsitsipas hit a really close to the line winner. Really close to the line shot. And Novak was unable to actually get it over the net on a return. So Todd has just asked an interesting question. Has Murray's comeback phase reached a plateau? Now, if we look at some, if we certainly think about, post-pandemic with Murray, I know he had his operation around about 2019, 2020 for the metal hip. And at the end of 2019, he did win that extraordinary title in the European Open, beating Stan Wawrinka in the final. But you could certainly, I would say it hasn't necessarily hit its plateau. I think there's been issues where Murray has become quite inconsistent during matches where when he was in his prime, he wasn't, he had that consistency from set to set to set. Yes, sometimes he went a set down or whatever and had to fight his way back. He had his consistency levels of high levels of play were there. What I've noticed from Murray matches, and it was especially prevalent last week and also in Giron, especially that match against Korda, when Murray plays to his best, he is still unplayable. But there are a lot of periods in matches where the first serve isn't firing, where the winners aren't going over the net, but are actually where the winners aren't going over the net, where he's hitting beyond the tram onto the sides of the tram line, and there's those unforced errors, those errors that you don't expect Andy to make are still there, or are there. And if you're going to be back, you want to get back to top 20, top 10, which Murray has stated, to win those 250s, to win those 500s. You need to have much more consistency throughout the game, where you are getting mid 60s to 70% first serves in. You are winning close to 80% of your first serves. Your unforced errors are usually below 10 for a match. Your winners are above 20. There are those stats in the game that we know Murray likes looking at stats. As to help shape his game. There are those elements that you need to make sure that you have locked in, so that you can then push that next level, get those big victories, because we know we can do it. He's got 2 or 3 top 10 wins already this season, and he can certainly go. I still believe he can definitely win a 250. possibly in a Grand Slam or a Masters have a good deep run. That is still very much in Murray's repertoire. Now, back to the game. We are now, of course, at the tiebreaker, with Tsitsipas hitting what is close to an ace on the first service point. And as a son of Robin says, we are in a tiebreaker. Let's see. We are, some people say it's a lottery. Let's see if it is a lottery. As Denis Novak has a second serve on his first service point. And Tsitsipas hits a return long. It is now 1 game all between the two players. And Tsitsipas is currently shouting at his team. He is not happy. Drop shot by Novak. Tsitsipas reaches it, and then Novak smashes it into the net. Bit of a let off here for Tsitsipas, who now goes a mini break up here in this tiebreaker. Son of a Rob. Good predictions we're seeing fly through here. Todd has said that you think Novak will do it 8-6, and Son of a Robin, you think the tiebreaker prediction will be 7-5 to Steph. So we're currently thinking it's close. I don't know. I think it will be close as well. But just saying that Tsitsipas just hitting the first serve, where the return has gone wide to make it 3-1 to Tsitsipas. 3-1 to Tsitsipas. So Tsitsipas is just doing his usual few bounces. First serve, it did get in, but it clipped the net on the way over. So currently is a let. Oh no, it was out. So actually, it will be a second serve for Tsitsipas. Will Novak be able to actually make best on this? No, he doesn't. He hits it long and wide. It is now 4-1. Tsitsipas is currently running away with this. Has clear water between him and his opponent, as we saw with Cam Norrie yesterday in the match with Katchin. It was a very tight third set, but ran away with it in a tiebreaker. This stuff can happen. Fans are trying to do their best to give as much support as they possibly can to Novak here. So. Tsitsipas up the line, running towards the net, smashes it, makes it 5-1. I think the prediction about Steph winning will be correct. I think it will now not be as tight as we were expecting. No, Tsitsipas has really raised his level here. He is seeing the ball like a beach ball, as they say, and he's determined to get this done, get it sorted, no messing, no hanging around, as the fans are in agony. They're just going for the change of end, quick drink of water, or in the case of some players, the actual Red Bull, which is on the sideline. I don't know. Do you think that would actually help you to drink that sort of a highly carbonated, sugary drink? I don't know if that necessarily would be the smartest thing in the world to start drinking, the likes of like say a Red Bull or a Monster type thing on the sideline, because it's. You're playing a very high intensity game. I don't think you want that carbon rolling around your stomach. Novak has managed to at least stem the tide. He won that point with a Tsitsipas error long. He should be now looking to see if he can at least get a little bit of a movement on Tsitsipas's serve here. Tsitsipas hits long, and we have got
match point.
Not match point. Sorry, we got set point. That was the wrong button there, ladies and gentlemen. We are currently at set point. I do apologise. Tsitsipas, he has 4 of them. Let's see if he can take any. So we've gone to a second serve here. Brilliant catch with those sort of like those fishing net type tennis rackets that they've got. And Tsitsipas winding up for a shot, takes it out wide. Novak goes for it. It goes long. That's that. Yep, so Tsitsipas has taken the first set, 7-6, 7-2 in that tiebreaker. Todd has just pointed out sugar-based carbonated beverages, bad news on tennis courts. I do agree, unless you're in a spectators. That certainly is a case. You want to be drinking probably a Coca-Cola on the sideline, not on the tennis court itself. Gary, you just said it's funny. It's so funny, guys. I just have the audio on in the background. Every time we say Novak, I stop and ask Novak. Then remember, it's not that Novak. Obviously, I am a hopeless Nole fan. Well, Gary, you've got next week, as it was confirmed by a local paper in Serbia, that Novak will be playing the Paris Masters, which of course is the curtain, close to the curtain raiser for the majority of the tour. At the end of the season, of course, the main curtain raiser being the ATP and WTA Tour finals, which take place afterwards. Along there, what I'm going to do is, whilst we're currently between sets, I'm going to go get a refill and drink of water. So I'm just going to bow out for a little bit, and I'll be back in literally quicker than you know it. Right, we are now back. They were a lot quicker than I was at grabbing some water. Okay, so Novak is just served there. First serve gone wide. Let's see what happens in this set. I mean, we fully expect it to be maybe a little. I suspect now that Tsitsipas will end up running away with this most likely. But of course, we expected Tsitsipas to be a bit better in the first set. Good lob by Novak. Tsitsipas hits it out wide. Novak, Tsitsipas collects it to take the point. Just to see what we're saying in the live comments. Remember, please make sure that you put your comments in the live comments section. So, Manaris, I just checked in. Novak did face Djokovic last year in the Davis Cup. Excellent. Manaris, what was the score? Do you have that down there? That'd be brilliant to put in there. That'd be excellent. And then Doug put Gary naturally, and then Manaris. Steph looks like he's been through something. Okay. Absolutely cannot wait for Paris and Turin. Me too, Gary. Me too. I'm quite fortunate as well, because I've been able to get some cheap flights, so I will be going and watching the quarterfinals at the Paris Masters at the Accor Arena, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the tennis that will take place there. Making the most of the fact that I don't live too far from the Parisian from Paris. As Tsitsipas is already 30 love up on Novak's serve. Do put, if you're going to go attend any of these tournaments coming up near the end of the year, maybe you're going to Paris or Basel or Vienna later this week, possibly. Or if anyone is going to the Next Gen finals or the end of year finals, I know that those two are based in Europe. If you're a European viewer, if you're North American, are you going to Fort Worth for the WTA final? For the WTA finals there, I know there's a lot of seats that are still up for sale, so I know there's a lot of opportunities there. and apparently there is a good connection to a airport around Fort Worth, which I've been reliably told is not Dallas, and not to confuse it with actually Dallas, because it's actually it's an hour's drive outside of of Dallas itself. Tsitsipas has 2 break points, and he has broken Novak early in the second set. So let's see. Tsitsipas has started the second set as he finished the first. I'm just shown the clip of Evans winning his match against Khachanov. Again, that's a big win for Evans. I mean, he's really actually taken to the end of season tournaments. Usually, this is when he sort of mentally checks out. Maybe gets round 1 or round 2 of most tournaments after the US Open. But, he got to the quarterfinal, only narrowly losing out to Felix Auger-Aliassime last week at the European Open. And has now beaten Karen Khachanov, who, let's not forget, is a top 20 player, in straight sets over at the second court in Vienna. So Tsitsipas, it's a good start by Novak, looking to get that break back here. As Tsitsipas will be determined to not for it not to be as long as it has been in the first set. I'm sure you won't mind that in the final, but when you're playing your first round opponent, and you know that if you want to win this tournament, you've still got another 4 matches after this. You want to be getting this done as quickly as possible, business-like, as they say. So Novak cross court. Okay, so some of the mistakes are starting to come into Dennis Novak's play here. He's been hitting the ball wide and long a little bit more than he was doing at the start of the match when he was really playing it in. What have we got down here? So there was a couple last year. 6-3, 6-2 to Djokovic. Thank you, Manaris. Yes, so they have played before. So Dennis Novak lost to Novak Djokovic 6-3, 6-2. Todd Hill said the theme continues, thinking 6-3, 6-3. Let's see, Todd, if that ends up taking place. And Manaris put, I checked Paris tickets just for fun. They are really cheap, 30 euro tickets for the quarterfinals. I know they are. If you can, the cheap seats, which are like category 4 or 5, or Cat 4 or Cat 5. If you can handle heights, they are a brilliant seat to be able to go get. I believe the Accor Arena is close to being the largest stadium in Europe. Todd Hill put, Manaris, too bad I can't get to Paris that economically. You probably would have had to have looked to have bought plane tickets a little earlier. Unfortunately, things like the Eurostar right now have really increased their prices to be able to get over there. But if you're in next year, France do a really good job at trying to actually keep prices low to get fans through the door. There's a lot of French tournaments, especially if you're European based, and how central France is. Think about it. You got in February you've got Marseille, you've got Montpellier, of course. And here's the fun fact, and I don't know why I'm saying this because I love this fun fact. The Monte Carlo Masters is technically not in Monte Carlo. The actual Monte Carlo Country Club itself is just on the French side of the Monaco France border. So technically, that tournament is a French tournament, not a Monaco tournament, even though it's generally counted as an event in the Monaco/Monte Carlo calendar. But you also got Lyon the week before the French Open, and of course the Roland Garros itself. If you've gone there, please do say in the chat if you've been to Roland Garros. And then at the back end of that, you've got Metz in what is now going to be in November next year. It's been moved from its slot in September to November. And of course, Paris Masters to top off the year. So, the French do a very good job at putting on a range of tournaments for us fans to be able to go see. Wow, Manos, you're saying it's still Manoris, too bad I can't get to Paris. Manoris, but still cheap. The Tel Aviv cheapest, the Tel Aviv final tickets, or the tellers was charging around about $500. Crikey! I know people want to go see Novak Djokovic that badly, but nobody would have fought for a 250 final being that badly. So I forgot to say as well, we're currently sitting at 2-love to Tsitsipas. He held his serve, and it's 15-15 on Novak serve as well. We've gone a little bit off track there. I do apologise from the actual match we're watching here. Manoris has put, I'll be in Paris in April. Any tournaments on that month in Paris? Manoris, I would say, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, by the way. If I'm not, do say. For April, the best thing you can do is possibly get the train down to Nice and to go to the Monte Carlo Masters, because that does take place at the beginning of April. Barring that, looking at the calendar for next year, you could look to possibly do a domestic flight to Barcelona. That takes place in April. There's also the Serbian Open in Belgrade. And I know they're looking to move Munich to a similar time as well. So I would say for somewhere close to Paris, you probably are looking at the Monte Carlo Masters as your tournament there. Todd, you're saying I'm hoping to attend Indian Wells in 2023. Oh, Todd, I would, from watching it on the screen, that's one of the tournaments that, unfortunately, because of my job, I am very set when it comes to when I can have my holidays. But that is certainly the tournament that when I'm out, when I'm later on in my life, I want to go to Indian Wells. It looks utterly fantastic. The centre court, the court one, the way in which they've got the temporary infrastructure on the outside courts. The matches there are fantastic. I mean, Todd, if you get to go there, do make sure you go. Let us all know what it's like. Gary, you make an interesting comment. I'll just put it on there. But loving your comments on the various tournaments. As an American, I forget that for Brits, it's not that far to attend tournaments in France. Yeah, it's for me, if I got a flight from, and this is now turning into a travel stream, I do apologise, as Stefanos, or as Novak held his serve there, but Stefanos is still 2-1 up. For me, to be able to fly to Paris, which I know I shouldn't, and I should get the Eurostar because it's much greener, it would take around about 40 minutes from London Gatwick to Paris Charles de Gaulle, which is very quick. And if I wanted to get... Thanks, Gary, for saying rocking it. I hope I certainly am. But like I said, yeah, it's 40 minutes to get to Paris from where I am. If I wanted to get to Marseille or Montpellier, that would just be an hour and a half, roundabout, in terms of flight time. I'm guessing for Gary, it's very similar to like when you fly from state to state. That although it's the distance by a flight can be quite small, that you could probably do it in an hour or two to get a good way around the country. But when I was able to get to Antwerp, that's very close. Simply just go to Brussels, and then from Brussels up to there, like relatively, you can work out with the rail systems. And I know language is a big barrier in Europe, given that we speak a variety of them in very small, in what can be seen as quite small concentrated areas. As long as you can understand the systems, that is going away straight away. There we are. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. So we have a good chat going in about where Gary is based. So Tsitsipas is just about to go serve. Hits it slightly long as he's looking to re-extend his lead to 2 games in this second set. So Tsitsipas up the line, Novak down the middle of the court. Up the middle of the court by Stefanos, backhand up the line by... So we've got a bit of a baseline exchange happening here. Baseline, and Novak hits it long, 15-love to Tsitsipas. Yes, indeed, that is certainly. Gary's pointed out the nickname of Indian Wells. It is seen as the fifth major or the fifth slam, given where it's based. Of course, the court number 1 stadium in Indian Wells has a capacity of around about 17,000 seats or 17,000 people, which for a purpose-built event is the second largest purpose-built tennis stadium or court in the world, and only beaten by Arthur Ashe, which has 23,000 in New York. My understanding is that the part of that top 10, you got around about 15,000 for places like the Accor Arena in Paris. The Rotterdam Ahoy can go up to close to 15,000 as well. And then of course you got Philippe Châtier. I really hope I got that pronunciation right. Philippe Châtier for Roland Garros, and the centre court for Wimbledon being around about 15,000 as well for seating capacity. Which I must admit, coming from football originally, I was a big football follower. If you want to know, my team is Manchester United, so please do hate me or love me or whatever for that comment. I probably will get a lot of hate for that. Tsitsipas has gone 3-1 up. He's certainly rocking through his service games at the moment. That's now moving ourselves slightly to the midpoint of the second set. You know, when you hear about, Old Trafford had 75,000, Wembley 80, there's Bernabeu 90, same for the Camp Nou. That you go, well, hang on a minute, 23,000 doesn't sound so big, but then when you think of the size of the court, it can actually feel much bigger than what you're expecting. What we've got down here, Todd is Florida-based, so an hour south of Jacksonville. That's interesting, Todd. Just to roll in, Gary, get your names right would be absolutely brilliant from my side, my point of view, James. So, Gary, have you gone to the Miami Masters, given the fact you're based in the same state as that one, either the old version or the new one at the Hard Rock Stadium? And Todd, you said my master plan is to strip NYC of its major status due to unruly crowd behaviour and the challenge and change the venue to Indian Wells, the new fourth major. Well, that is certainly an idea about potentially doing that. I know that at some points they were looking at moving the Australian Open to another place, but that has been shelved. But they're I think it'll end up staying in New York. US Open is a massive staple of the year. As Tsitsipas now has 2 break points to go a double break up here in Vienna. So, Tsitsipas is very much, he's gone up that next gear. He ain't messing. He's looking to get it sorted as much as possible. Let's see if he can do it here. Let's see if he can get that double break. Okay, so we have a second serve. So, Novak was able to stick Tsitsipas one way and then fire the ball to the other side of the court. Really good bit of play there. The old classic 1-2. And as we can see, Tsitsipas is a little bit annoyed that he got caught in such a way. We see the box for Novak is very pleased that this is taking place. So, long by Novak. We now have another break here. We could possibly say that we're now looking at what could be the final stages. The final stages of this match between the home guy Denis Novak and the second seed from Greece, so Stefanos TSITSIPAS. Tsitsipas now just needs to win 2 more games, and then he will take the match. Again, some of us were quite surprised when we saw that when Tsitsipas was taken to a tiebreaker. We were not expecting this. We were expecting. So I'm just trying to grab a charger down there. I apologise. As we were expecting this to be a little bit more of a more straightforward match. It wasn't that, which is I say unfortunate for Tsitsipas's camp that probably wanted a bit more of a straightforward match. But he did win that second set. Sorry, he did win that first set. I will get these names right at the point. I do apologise. I'll probably end up saying that a lot. I probably should stop saying that at that point as well. But yeah, he's it was a very tight first set. We are now very much close to the business end of the second. Tsitsipas will now be coming out to serve to make it 5-1. Okay, so I'm just reading a comment. So to me, thanks for the question. Remember, keep putting your questions into the chat here. It's great to see some communication from you all. Even if you're a new commenter, please do put something down below. Everyone here that's been very welcoming and very responsive in terms of starting good communication. So you said, "Hi James, I'm an old timer. Grew up in New Hampshire. Oh, so just close to the East Coast. I ever heard of a Volvo International? It was the Cincinnati before there was Cincinnati. Played on clay with the US Open when the US Open was on clay. I think I remember watching a video almost like a tennis history video about this sort of tournament. It was about this sort of tournament. It was I think it had some slight issues, but no, if you've got any more information on it, Gary, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Oh, you put it down here. That's excellent. Volvo International was in North Conway, New Hampshire. Stadium built into the side of a mountain. As glorious as that would be excellent. To have a stadium built into the side of a mountain, you could just imagine some of the camera shots that you could get of the ball, being thrown up into the air with the mountain in the backdrop, or the view of the sun setting next to around the mountain. That sounds excellent. It's a shame that they're not going to have that sort of design anymore. Todd agrees with me on that one. I would very much like to see that venue, as it looks as though we're going to get and we're going to get over that bottom because Tsitsipas is playing unbelievably well in his service game. As he's just about to serve here. I really hope, because I've got Carlo playing this button. Oh, no, just hits it wide. Go to a second serve. So we go to a second serve here. So Novak. Oh, no, we're not going to play the button. Tsitsipas has just, unfortunately, not been able to get that game to love, but he's still 40-15 up. Other comments we got. I also saw the women in Newport and went 2-year end finals when they were played at Madison Square Gardens in New York. Oh, that sounds excellent. I've seen some of the old clips of those end of year finals, especially the ones in the 90s where the trophy was almost like a glass crown. I saw Sampras pick up a few times. That would have been excellent to have been able to go see. Sam K, welcome to the chat. You said that he played so good in the first set, but Tsitsipas' class is too much for Novak to handle in this set. I tend to agree. I think Novak played a very high level in that first set, wasn't able to get it done, and unfortunately Tsitsipas, who was playing a lower level, has really upped his game here. So we're currently, like I say, sitting at 5-1. So we're one game away from Tsitsipas potentially picking this up and then taking himself through in straight sets to the second round, where I believe that's a poor attempt at a drop shot there by Novak. 15-15. Just trying to see who will Tsitsipas potentially play in the next round. Let me just get that up on here. I'll just get going onto the one of the websites we probably all got sort of saved somewhere. There we go. Draw. Yeah, so Tsitsipas will play. Oh yes, he will play Bora Coric. You probably will put that in here anyway. He will play Bora Coric if he gets this done. Novak is, of course, at the moment 30-15 up on his own serve, looking to at least stop there being a breadstick in this set. Gary, did you ever? Oh, got some good. Hey, Jimmy, lovely commentary. Thank you, Jack. I hope it's coming across all right. First time on here. Tsitsipas hits a brilliant cross-court forehand to make it 30-30. He is determined to get this done here. He does not want to serve it out. He just wants to get, doesn't want to sit down. Wants it all sorted here. Let's not have that in the chat, shall we, Jack? So Novak was able to at least run to the net there and get the point there. He's got game point to try and make it 5-2 and at least force another sit down. And he does so. Tsitsipas is unable to return. So it is now 5-2 to Tsitsipas. Could it just be, could it just be a stay of execution? Could it just be another sit down for the sake of another sit down? Or are we about to see a massive comeback from Denis Novak? I think a lot of you and a lot of me probably think not. This is just a mild extension. As we see if Tsitsipas can at least get this sorted to get to the second round and face and do a rematch with Bora Choric. That is, of course, a rematch from the Cincinnati final, which took place just a couple of months ago, just before the US Open. Just before the US Open, one of the last big tournament before the US Open takes place. Again, Cincinnati is another place I quite like to go to at a point. The courts look immaculate. Plenty of good tennis. Joint event. Can't say better than that. Unfortunately, Novak is looking up into the crowds, not looking too happy. As I was saying, Gary, apparently you've seen Christine, Martina, and Pam. Oh, you've really been able to see some tennis royalty in action back in their day. That is pretty good to see. Just notice, remember, if you can hit the like button, that'd be fantastic on this stream. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure that you're not subscribed, that you do subscribe as well. I have This brings out a good point, and this is something we'll cover in terms of matches that will take place afterwards. I think it's the last round of 32 match of the to play is of course Daniel Medvedev versus Nicholas Basilashvili. Basilashvili's had an absolutely terrible season. I know, and I don't say that lightly, given his he's been a bit of a fall from grace since he got to the final of Indian Wells in that October at Indian Wells. Basilashvili, I can certainly see him losing probably 6-love in the final set. Do you know what? His unforced errors, I think Basilashvili could end up putting himself into those sort of predicaments. Tsitsipas is really wasting no time here. We're at 30-love. We're at 30-love. He's hoping to get it. Oh, he tries to get the ace there. Doesn't necessarily work out. As we now reach, hits the net cord and bounces back on the other side. A little bit of luck there for Novak. Tsitsipas still looks locked in though. Just a mild bit of unluck there, hitting the net cord. He is mannerist in terms of Basilashvili being lower down than what he was. As we've got a rerun there. Oh, shoot, your comment is still on the screen. I do apologize. Sorry about that, Sam. Sorry about that. So, yeah. Oh, wow. It's just a drop in there for Novak. Tsitsipas left it, thought it was going long. It did not go long. It hit the line. We're now sitting at 30-30. This service game has gone from being what looked like to be quite straightforward to actually having a bit of trepidation about it. Minor bit of trepidation. Tsitsipas is going for the serve. hits the net. So we've got a second serve here. What will happen? Will we get match point or will we get break point? We are up the line by Tsitsipas. So you're going to get
match point.
We now have match point here. Tsitsipas 1 point away from finishing it here and getting a straight sets victory through to the second round at the Vienna Open in Vienna. First serve down the middle, ace there, and Stefanos TSITSIPAS has won the match. Yes, so Tsitsipas, as we can see here, he has won 7-6, 6-2 against Denis Novak. A really good display by the Austrian in front of his home crowd. It was always going to be a very tough match, as we can see a lot of kids wanting their huge tennis balls being signed. Looking at the stats here, we can see that Tsitsipas got around about eight aces comparative to Novak's 5. But it's where we go to the unforced errors, and when looking at the unforced errors count, we can see a real difference there. Tsitsipas only had 7 to Novak's 17, whereas on the winners count, Tsitsipas had 26, Novak had 21. Usually if this is a youngster, we would say it was a really good showing. Really promising talent being shown. But of course, Novak's a little bit older than a youngster, but he can take some heart from this when he probably ends up back in the Challenger Tours for the next couple of weeks until we move over to the end of the season. Along there, and we've got some more stats, of course, popping up on the boards in terms of number of forehands, backhands, and whatnot. If you can, please do have a look at them. But we start to come to an end of the stream just here to give you some score updates around the grounds. Moving over to the second court in Vienna. We're currently sitting at a situation where Rabana and Middletop took the first set 6-1 and are serving for the second set and the match in the round of 16 there in the doubles. Moving over to Basel, Albert Ramos Viñolas and Lorenzo Musetti are really digging deep in this third set. It's 4 games all over there. As we're just getting confirmation that Tsitsipas will play Bora Coric, and a winner of that will play either Hubi Hurkacz or Emil Risabori in the quarterfinal. So a really tasty quarter of the draw down here. Just talking about the danger just there. Everyone is saying we've got Corey Tsitsipas rematch. Indeed, it's going to be a fun one. That will definitely be on the centre court. Thanks, Sankey James. Good to see you on this channel. Welcome to your fan. Thank you for that, Sam. I hope you've all enjoyed it today. Just to give you a hint of some of the matches that are still to be played today, as there are a lot of matches still to be played. Again, Medvedev versus Basilashvili is the next match up. This is not before. It's 4:30 UK time, so 5:30 local time in 5:30 local time over in Vienna. And just to keep an eye out for those people who have a doubles interest, again, you got after the Kachin-Schwartzman match, you have Ram and Salisbury versus Evans and Pearce. Of course, with Dan Evans, with that comment he made about him thinking he's a much better doubles player and the reason why he's annoyed with Davis Cup, that could be a certainly interesting match. And then following that is the most informed team at the moment. You've got Kulov and Skupski against Gonzalez and Montelli. So some really good doubles matches taking place there. I believe now, because we are sitting at 4 o'clock, we may get the order of play for tomorrow, and we haven't unfortunately got the order of play for Vienna tomorrow for Vienna. And over in Basel, have we got the order of play yet for Basel? We do not, but we will leave that bit there. Again, there's more matches to be played later on, and do make sure you're watching them. It's a brilliant time of the year. We've got some top quality tennis from some top quality players. Hope to see you in the coming days, and I will see you later on as I just click us on the outro.